A very good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us today for this webinar by Mr. Anantram. So I am Ujjwal from Team Interview Buddy. So we will start this session by introducing Mr. Anantram. And Mr. Anantram has got over 20 years of experience in the industry. He's from the engineering and MBA background. So he has got he served in the senior level executive roles at different companies. So and on top of the industry experience, he's got a lot of experience on lot of experience in the training domain, and it includes taking up mock interviews for candidates, or when he was serving with the companies, he was also taking actual interviews for the companies. So Mr. Anantram, he previously served as the regional head for ICFI, and he was also the former dean of academics and administration for a large group of educational institutions. He was a guest speaker at various fora, including Rotary, and he also served as a keynote speaker at many webinars and conferences. So Anantram is also a certified life coach practitioner, and he is a technical and marketing content developer as well as a writer and editor. So, so Anantram sir, it's over to you. You can start off with the webinar.
Thank you, Mr. Ujjwal. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, job aspirants, people who want to change their jobs. I wish you all a very, very good afternoon and a good session. Please keep your notepads and your pens ready. You could note down a few tips, a few examples that we come across. And of course, anything that you might have, please put it in the Q&A box or in the chat box, and I will try to answer them as we go along or towards the end of the session. But please interact on the chat box when I ask you to, because that would help each one of us to derive maximum benefit. So today, what we are trying to get across is how to do well in an interview and how to ace it right the very first time itself, and how to get the best benefit out of the interview. So there are a few pointers that I would like to share with you. Many were also shared in our earlier webinar. And here, what we are going to do is basically, we are going to look at these areas. How important your introduction is. Because typically, every interview starts with this question: introduce yourself. And my experience has been that most of the time, the candidates are unable to talk for more than sometimes 5 seconds, 10 seconds, very rarely more than 30 seconds. And it's a very hesitant introduction. Then, of course, during the course of the interview, how we are going to get the interviewer's attention and draw his or her attention to your areas of strength. Then, of course, how to project your best side during the interview. And of course, we end it with the most important aspect: how to get over fear. Because this is where most of the problems actually happen. So let's see what happens here. Why the introduction is so important. Now, you must understand here that these couple of minutes, your first 1 to 2 minutes, is going to set the tone for your interview. Because that is where the interviewer is going to assess you. It is always said, the first impression is the best impression. So right from the time you walk into the interview room and you hand over your resume, you sit down, and then 9 out of 10 times it is introduce yourself. And that sets the tone. So you must make it always the best introduction and the best ever. So what comprises a good introduction? Please note these points down, because this is very important. Of course, your name, obviously, unless somebody says, hey, Mr. Suresh, could you introduce yourself? So please don't start with, I am Suresh. No. He or she, the interviewer, already knows your name. So you just start, good afternoon, sir. I'm pleased to be here today. I am da-da-da-da, and so on. So you give your educational qualifications, what you have studied, your latest degree. If you're a graduate plus a postgraduate, talk about it. If you're an engineer, talk about it. Talk about which institution you have done or you have qualified from, right? Your engineering, your medicine, which branch, and so on. So once you get your educational qualifications out of the way, then you talk of work experience. What experience you have in the job so far? And one question that freshers always have is, I have no work experience, what do I say? A good question. So what you will talk about is this. So during your course, you have done various projects. You have taken part in many internships. So talk about your projects and your internships and talk about what work you have done there. Now that is what is important. Believe me, work experience or what you have done in your projects and in your internships do count a lot, because that is surely going to impress the recruiter that you have done something, that you have actually done or worked in a particular industry, in a particular area of an industry, and that you are interested in a certain area. Now, this is very important, the area, because when you talk about projects and internships, the recruiter knows that you are probably proficient or at least have a basic working knowledge of those areas. So that's where your projects and internships count a lot. More importantly, when you talk of maybe your work experience, if you have work experience, or in your projects or in your internships, please talk about your leadership positions. Now, what do you mean by a leadership position? Now, you could be a team leader. If you did the project individually, fine. So you say it was an individual project. So that shows that you're capable of doing a project individually. Or if you were the team leader for a group of 4 or 5 or 6 or whatever, talk about it. It's good because you are a leader. If you are not a leader, say, hey, I was part of this wonderful team of 6 of us. We had a fantastic leader. So automatically that shows your team working skills, right? So you're a good team player. So you see, your projects and your internships are so important because you are talking of leadership, you're talking of followership. You see, a leader has followers. So you're a good leader or you're a good follower. And of course, you are a team player. Now, this is what any industry, any institution, any company wants. They want people who are there to lead, who are willing to lead, who can become leaders, and more importantly, people who are good team players. And when you actually do this, you are talking about yourself. This is who you are. This is what you have done. You're talking about yourself, right? Now, very often, people talk of certain things which is really not required, and I would say out of place. Ensure that these things do not even get highlighted in your resume because they are not important. What is important, even in these, I will talk about. Gender, right? Some people say, I am Mr. So-and-so, I am Miss So-and-so, I am Mrs. So-and-so. No, even that is not required, right? You don't talk of gender. It is not to be covered. Your marital status need not be covered. People say, I'm married, I have 2 children. I don't have children, but I'm married. My husband's name is. Please do not talk about your marital status. There is one question that frequently crops up, that sometimes people ask, especially the women, are you married? Frankly, you need not answer this because maybe you're not married or you are married, but you're probably going through, a separation. We don't know. It is, you can always very politely say, sir, I would not like to talk about it, but do not take it offensively. But believe me, this question, are you married, comes only in India. It is never asked outside a country. But yeah, in India, somehow people still ask this question. I mean, it has reduced to a large extent, but yeah, there is really no need to talk about your marital status. If you want to say, yeah, I'm married, that's it. I mean, there's no need to prolong it. Don't take it offensively if it is asked in the right tone with the right intention, and that is important. Now, people talk for about half a minute about their family background. Oh, I have a father, I have a mother, I have 2 sisters, I have a brother, my brother is an engineer, my elder sister is a doctor, my younger sister is in +2, my grandparents are there, I'm born and brought up in Vizag. Please, nobody's interested in your family background. We are not interested as recruiters. If we want to ask, we will. But yes, sometimes if your family or a family member, mostly a parent, a father or a mother, is serving the nation, in a defense area, in a border security force, who is giving us a good night's sleep and taking care of nation security. You can say, I'm proud that my father is a captain in the army. My father is a captain in the navy. Oh, he's a fighter pilot. I mean, if you're very proud of your dad, you can always talk about it. Or your mother. Your mother could be a nurse. She could be a very successful entrepreneur. She could be maybe the managing director or CEO of a company. You can just probably briefly mention it. If they are very, very accomplished, you can talk about it. But yeah, it's really not required. But detailed, no, not more than a few seconds. Anything to do with religion, caste, politics is a strict no. Please never, ever talk about these topics. Now, sometimes you will find interviewers asking you for your opinion, not necessarily during the introduction, but after the word, they might just ask you, what do you think of Modi? What do you think of Arnab Goswami? What do you think of these Hindu-Muslim riots? They may ask you all kinds of questions. This is basically to put you under stress. Give a nice sweet smile and say, sorry, sir, I'm not into politics. I'm not into religion. My only intention is to get a good job. That's it. Thank you very much, sir. But no, I mean, you might have very strong religious or political leanings, but please don't bring it out in an interview. Never, ever talk on these parts. So people spend a lot of time writing all their watching TV, watching movies, reading books, watching cricket. Please, this is not a part of your introduction. In fact, it need not even be in your resume unless it is something like a hobby. A hobby is something that is really important, something you've done very well in. Yes, please talk about it. Because hobbies are something which you're passionate about, where you have a lot of in-depth knowledge. And that is where you can mention, yes, my hobby is assembling electronics. My hobby is playing cricket. It can be a hobby, believe me, because you have researched into cricket and you can be prepared for a 5-10 minute question answer round on cricket, or singing or cooking. When you're very passionate about something, you can mention it, but be prepared to answer about it. As I said in my earlier webinar, you have to live your resume. So whatever you write there, please live it. References need not be given during your introduction or in your resume. When asked, you can furnish it. So basically, this is what an introduction should be. It should show you as a confident individual. It must show that you have a leadership ability, means you're already been a leader, or you have an aptitude that you have the potential to become a good leader. This should come out during your introduction. Similarly, your team working skills, as I told you, the ability or an aptitude. Now, here, teamwork or leadership could even be that you're the captain of a football team or a cricket team, or your house captain or your school captain, or you could have led a social responsibility project, a blood donation camp, a tech fest. It could be anything. You did a successful tech fest, you did a successful, a social a project. I mean, you could have helped flood victims, you could have helped, COVID victims, you could have done anything. I mean, and these are things you can talk about definitely, because that shows teamwork, that shows leadership. Sometimes, you have handled stress, you're part of a losing team and then the team won. or the project was not getting done, and deadlines were coming close, and then but that you were successful, or maybe during a major disaster, you've done a fantastic job, you rescued people, so that shows your ability to handle stress. So an introduction should project that. Of course, time management, very, very important, that you have completed your tasks on time. And I think that's where you really have to do it. So while you fill in this poll, I would just like to tell you that when you are preparing for an interview, it's very simple. Just write down your introduction. Write it down, please. Write down an introduction. Do not mug it up, but rehearse it. Hey, this is who I am. And then, it should come from your heart. And that is what is important. Your introduction must be, as they say, dil se. It is very, very important. So please practice it. Practice it with a friend. Practice in front of a mirror. Practice in front of a friend. Practice it with your faculty members, somebody who respects you. Normally, parents and good friends will always say, hey, you're doing a good job. But you want somebody to critically examine your introduction. They must give you honest and very true feedback. So please, please rehearse it several times over till you deliver it for at least 1.5 to 2 minutes. Prepare it for 1.5 to 2 minutes and deliver it with passion. And that is what is important. I hope that is clear. So, do any of you have any questions at this point in time? Do any of you have any questions? Please put it in the chat box. I hope you're enjoying the webinar. I hope you're getting some value. Can I have some responses in the chat box, please? Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Shiva. Thank you, Dr. Jayashree. Thank you, Shailendra. You want, Shailendra, examples of an introduction pitch, okay? How can you incorporate teamwork experience, okay? Can we directly start from our work experience during introduction, skipping education qualification? No, I think education qualification must be, I'm an engineer from so-and-so university, and I'm currently working. Yeah, but you must say that you're an engineer, you're a doctor, you're a management graduate, you're a market researcher, you're a sales person. You must talk about that. And yeah, so the introduction pitch. So you start off say, good afternoon, sir. I'm Suresh from Vizag, and I'm proud to be a chemical engineer. I have 1.5 years of work experience at the Hindustan Petroleum Corporation at the Vishak Refinery. And my work is right now into production. And I've been promised that I'll be taken into projects because the refinery is expanding. I have a lot of experience during my engineering because I did a 3-month internship in a similar refinery of Indian Oil in Mumbai. And there I worked in their cracker. And it was very nice. And then you give some results of what you did there, who are the people you interacted with, and so on. Then you can talk of some project that you did on that, and so on. So you can talk about this. Then, of course, the other question was so introduction pitch just goes, it should just flow. Should just flow. You just incorporate all those points that I told you, and you can do it. A teamwork experience, how to incorporate, say, that you are a part of a team that did a project on so and so, and then talk about your project. And say that you were the team leader, or or what was your scope during the project or the internship, that you led a particular initiative, that you were responsible for the design, or you were responsible for the simulation, or you were responsible for the software, or you were responsible for the statistical analysis, what you were responsible for. So that's how you incorporate your teamwork experience. Is it better to prepare a long as well as a short intro? Prepare a long one, but yeah, if somebody asks you to keep quiet, they normally won't. I think 1 to 1.5 minutes is fine. There's no need to, yeah, you can, but I mean, prepare for 1.5 minutes. I think that's good. Even if your experience is not a fresher, you can always say, I'm an engineer working with so-and-so. I did my engineering, I did my MBA, and so on. Thank you, Nishtha. Right. So let's get on to the next part. How do you draw the interviewer's attention? Now, this is very, very important. As I told you, you have to make the foundation very strong during the introduction. And throughout the interview, the interviewer should be riveted to you. And how is that possible? Whatever you may say, anything. It could be a book, it could be about a movie, it could be about your parent, it could be about your job, it could be about your internship, your project, whatever. The passion must come out. That you are there because you love what you're saying, you love the company that you're interviewing for. So you say, suppose, like when you go for an interview, obviously you must prepare something about the company. You must research the company before you go for an interview. So you say, sir, I'm so happy to be interviewing here because your company has been doing wonders in the marketplace. Your share price has gone up, your market performance is good, your revenues have doubled in the past 5 years. Your employees speak well about you. You can quote. You have to start quoting. So you must exude that passion when you speak, and that is the right way of drawing the interviewer's attention towards you. Then, when you're talking right from your project time to now, talk about which areas you are strong in. Now, believe me, the interviewer is trying to take you away and trying to put a difficult question. Your job is to get the interviewer into your, as I call it, the spider's web, to your area of strength. Talk, sir, I have been very good in selling this product. I got very good response to my campaigns. I am very good in software. I'm very good in C programming. I'm very good in Python. I have done so many projects using MATLAB. I've done so many projects using so-and-so software. I'm wonderful with my hands. I'm a very good mechanical engineer because of this. Get your area of strength. And this is what is important. You must, get your areas of strength very clear. Then, whatever you say, please be honest about it. Be straightforward. Do not beat around the bush. Many times I find people saying, let me try and bluff. For some reason, you don't know the answer to a question. I mean, that is the simplest example I can give you. The interviewer asks you something. What does ACQ stand for? Now you are scratching your head. And you just, conjure up some answer to give an answer. No. Be straight. I'm sorry, sir. I do not know. It does not matter whether you know or don't know, but please be honest about it. There is no harm of not knowing something. You are not expected to know everything. Of course, basics you should know, definitely. But if you don't know, you don't know. Do not bluff, because if you try to bluff, if you try to, tell a lie, if you try to, beat around the bush and waste time, the interviewer is going to get upset, and believe me, the interview is going to end. They are not going to take you because you are not being honest about it. There is nothing wrong in saying, sir, I don't know. Could you ask me another question? Or you can say, sir, I would like to attempt to answer this question, but pardon me if I'm wrong, because I have a very, very weak knowledge. If you know it, sir, give me a piece of paper, let me do it, and tuck, 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 you do it. No problem at all. But do it honestly and be straightforward. This is a tough one, because I'm sure all of you will have those butterflies flying in your stomach. Your heart will be beating fast, but try and look a bit relaxed. Look pleasant. Now, what do I mean by saying look pleasant? There are people who, look very, very like this. No, there is no need. Be relaxed. Have a nice smile on your face. Nothing now. Nobody's going to eat you up. Nobody's going to eat you. Well, looking relaxed doesn't mean this. When the interview says relax, it's not that you sit like this. No, not at all. You sit nice, sit straight, have a nice look. Use gestures. Many people do not know what to do with their hands. So there are people, who will, take a handkerchief and, keep playing with it. They'll keep wiping their nose, they'll keep wiping and they'll keep wiping their brow, They don't know what to do. They'll be sitting like this, they'll be squirming. Please, relax. Sit straight. But don't sit like stiff like a rod. Sit straight, sit relaxed, look pleasant, have a slight smile on your face. You don't need to show your teeth, but please look relaxed. We will talk about this a little later again. So, very, very important is to know your strengths. If you're not, how many of you know? Please answer the poll, because you must write down your strengths. And this happens when you introspect, look into what you are good at. Of course, you also need to know your weaknesses. But more importantly, as I told you, you must draw the recruiter into your area of strength. And that is what is important for you. So, yeah, please finish your poll. Are you all done with your poll? Can I have a response, please, on the chat box? Please put your questions in the Q&A box. I will answer the questions towards the end of the webinar. We have some more time to go. We have very important areas to handle. I see some of you say you think you know your strengths, but are not sure. Okay. Ask your friends, ask your parents. Right. So let's go ahead. Very, very important during an interview to be successful is showcase that you are a person who loves to learn. Now, this is what an organization wants. They want somebody who has that passion, that desire, that burn inside them. Yes, I have to learn, I must learn, right? So you must show during your interview that you're ready to take up a new challenge. Now, this is very, very important. Now, how could this come out during an interview might perplex you? Yes, because somebody might tell you, listen, we have this new project coming up after 6 months, but it is not in Andhra Pradesh. It might be somewhere in the northeast, maybe Assam or Arunachal Pradesh. Would you take it up? Now, here, there could be a mixed response, because actually you don't want to go to Arunachal Pradesh, right? Because you have your parents to take care of, and you would like to stay to probably Vizag or Hyderabad or Andhra Pradesh. But during an interview, do not say, no, sir, I don't want to go anywhere, I will be only here. Never say that. Say, yes, sir, wherever it is, I would be ready because I love challenges. And that is important. Now, tomorrow, after you join the company, after the opportunity comes, you still have time to decide. But during an interview, never show a negative. Always show that you are ready to take up a new challenge, because this is very important. Please say anything, sir, anywhere. Please post me anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world. I am ready to take up because I want to learn. I want to learn something new. And that is the reason why I'm here. So show that readiness. The second way actually to project that you are a learning person is to say that you are innovative, you are creative in whatever you do. If you have done some good projects, something which is in a niche area, please talk about it. Sir, I designed this wonderful software, and I designed this app. I did this particular coding. I did this. I made a robot. I mean, it could be anything. See, your innovative or creative, or the innovative creative side to your personality must come out in your approach when in any answer that you give, because this is what shows that you have a desire to learn. Then, of course, the way to demonstrate that, yes, I am a learner, is to say that, hey, I've done these courses, I have these certifications. One worrisome aspect here is that I see many of you doing courses, but you have no certification. I see people learning Tally, for example, Tally 9, the ERP version for accounts. But it's not a certified course. Please spend that little bit of extra money and get a certificate. It does not matter where the certificate is from, at least to a large extent. In the initial days, yes, it does matter. But then having a certificate is more important than not, rather than doing something and not having a certificate. So please do have this, and please carry copies of all your certifications when you go for your interview. You can only say, yes, I am proud. I did this at NIIT. I did this at Aptech. I did this on Udemy. It was a Coursera course. Doesn't matter if it's Coursera or Udemy, but that you have done a course is important. And please, because today we like to see people who are upskilling, and we want people who are ready to multitask. We have people, we like people who are multi-skilled, and it is these certifications and courses that are important. There are plenty available. So please show that you are certified, and that is important. That you've done a course and you're certified for it, right? And if you have some good testimonials, please carry it with you. I mean, in fact, when you finish a good project, when you finish an internship, if your project guide or your company guide or your corporate head or whoever is happy with your work, or at least, I mean, you've finished it, please carry a nice letter from that person saying, a wonderful job. He worked with us for 3 months on his internship, and we were very happy. And he did very well. He was on time. His commitment was good and all that. Sometimes you may have to write the testimonial yourself because that guy doesn't have the time. It's okay. Doesn't matter. The testimonial and his signature on his letterhead is more important. So please ensure you have these testimonials with you, because it's something you have earned. And please carry this with you. It's very important. So we have had this 7 months of time. I'm sure many of you did not waste this time. So what were your learnings other than political gossip and the COVID progress, the ups and downs across countries? I hope there are many other things that you learned. So please fill up the poll sheet and let us know what you learned during these 7 months. I hope all of you are going to get back to finishing your courses and back to work. Things are getting a little difficult, but yes, it's important to. Good. Many of you are doing online courses. That's nice. Good. Yeah, I did online courses myself. I registered for 3 courses. I finished, I think one I finished, and I finished 2. The third one is going on now. Right? So I hope all of you are good, doing well, finding it interesting. Please give me a yes in the chat box if you are enjoying my session. Thank you. Thank you, Akanksha. Thank you, Shiva. Thank you, Sudha. Sudha Mavuri. Thank you, Vasant. Priya Naresh has a question. This could be a little off the topic. What do you think should be the role of universities in transparency of placement policy and training from day one? Yeah, so I think this is a very important question that Priya Naresh has asked. She says, what do you think should be the role of universities in transparency of a placement policy and training from day one? I think this is very, very important. And I think I'll just take a minute to quickly run through this before I handle the last part of today's webinar. You see, I think the statement must be very clear, because end of the day, there is one thing that all universities, all educational institutions must remember that students are their customers. Somehow we tend to forget this. We are there, we teachers are there, we faculty are there, we institutions are there because there are students. And we are there to take care of them. We are there to take care of, their future. We are there to take care of grooming them, of placing them. So I think any institution, any university, anyone who wants to do well in the market must have a transparent, clear-cut placement policy. Some people talk of placement guarantee. Placement guarantees really don't work. I think that is a bit of a misleading statement. 100% placement guarantee. See, I can't guarantee a placement of a student because I'm not appearing for the interview, the student is, right? But placement assistance, yes. So the job of any institution is to get students, is to get recruiters into the campus and train their students accordingly. And it is very important that, people, that the students and the faculty work together on this. Have a good placement committee in place where there are both students and faculty and one placement coordinator headed by the principal or the dean or whoever in the institution. And in your websites, during your counseling processes, during your admission processes, please showcase this. It's very important. Yes. So I think, Priya, that should, I think, because I have worked many years with ICFAI, and we had this very clear. And our students were placed very easily because we had soft skill courses that carried credits for it. And I think that's the best way to go about it. Yes. So let's get on to a very important part of today's webinar. Fear is something you all go through during an interview, before an interview, during an interview. So I would like to spend a few minutes on what this fear is. It is natural. Please understand, it is a very natural response. That you are scared, that you have fear, that you have these butterflies, fluttering around in your stomach, that that your vocal cords are. But it is a natural response because there is a feeling, a perceived feeling, or a real feeling of threat, danger, or pain. Somebody is going to take blood. Somebody is going to give you an injection. So, oh, it's going to hurt. So you are scared. It is natural. It is a very natural response. So nothing to be concerned about because it is natural. That is the first step. So what are you? What are these common fears? What are the fears? Just of communicating. I can't communicate. I can't talk properly. I have a verbal communication problem. Yeah. Some people just say, oh, I can talk in a group of friends, but I can't go onto the stage and talk. I'm scared of people watching me. I can't talk. Even today, I have friends who say, sir, we don't want you to attend our conference. I said, why? If you are there, I have a fear. I said, what? There are hundreds of people. No, but if I know that you are there, I'm going to get, I will feel odd. I don't understand this, but yes, it's there. So you'll have they have a fear of communicating the wrong body language, maybe their eye contact, maybe the way they stand, maybe the way they gesticulate, maybe the way they don't gesticulate. Like I showed you, what to do with my hands. You know, so your body language is not good. You stand with a slouch. You do this. You do this. You look like this. All this. I mean, your body language is not right. So the fear that you might use the wrong body language could happen. Language, one of the fears, yes. My English is not good. Now, this is a very common problem that I come across. You know, I can talk, sir. Can I talk in Telugu? I will talk, but I can't talk in English. So language could be a fear. Yeah, you got to get out of it. Surroundings. You're very good communicator in your college, but if I put you in a corporate environment, then the surroundings are going to change. Or there are, like I remember my first interview, I just walked in and I found 7 people on the panel. Believe me, that was tough. When you walk into a room for an interview as a fresh engineer, and you find 7 people, oh my God. And right across, I had to virtually go 150 degrees to see all 7 of them. And I was fired with questions by all 7. So surroundings can create that fear. Of course, the most common fear is failure. That I will not do well. I will fail. I don't know. You have memory lapses because of the tension that you have built up, that you will fail. If you feel that you will fail, you will. Because you're conditioning yourself that way. See, failure may happen, may not happen, but please don't think that you will fail. Fear of failure. I will forget my speech. I prepared my introduction for 2 minutes, but you go there, sir, I forgot my introduction. The tension, no, it happens that you fail. I mean, you just fail to communicate. What happens? And this question on this poll is what, I mean, you can answer in the poll, but these are very important questions to answer. What are your fears? And then, who created the fears for you? Did you create them? And of course, the aftermath is more important. What are you doing about it? There are some interesting questions. Yeah, I will answer that. You got something to eat, something to drink? Yeah, good. I will answer that. Just give me a moment. Let me just finish that. I'll just finish this, and then there's some very interesting questions. Yes. Yeah. So what are you afraid of? You created the fear yourself. Now, what is the worst thing that is going to happen? Tell me. Can you put it in the chat box? What is the worst thing that is going to happen? What are you afraid of? Tell me. I'm waiting for your answers in the chat box, please. What are you afraid of? Being embarrassed, not getting selected, okay? Embarrassed. Embarrassed for what? Language problem, fear of no or rejection in interview. Yes, that is the worst thing, correct. You don't get the job. So what, yeah? There are plenty of jobs available. Please take every failure as a stepping stone for success. It is why should you get the job the first time you go for an interview? That is unreasonable to expect. Fear of the unknown. No, there is no fear of the unknown. That is there throughout life. How do you know that fan on the top of your head is not going to fall? How do you know that there's not going to be an earthquake? There's not going to be a tsunami? Language problem, you'll have to work on, my friends. Yes. But believe me, all these fears, the worst thing can be not being selected. See, in any interview, with the kind of competition in the market, it is bound to be there. But yes, so you have to introspect and find out why you failed. And you have nothing to lose. The whole Life is there in front of you. You have nothing to lose. You have some problem. That is why you are not selected. And believe me, the marketplace is tough. Yes. If you get it, you have everything to gain. So just recognize the fear. Do not worry about it. Yeah. See, you must remember that this fear, or what you call as a fear, is you. It is your creation. You are the architect. If you are scared, now if you don't do your intro correctly, how do you expect to get selected? Please tell me. You are the architect of your fears. You created the problem for yourself. Please understand this. You are the person. Now you don't answer the question correctly. You don't show passion. You know, there are students, there are people who go for jobs, and within the first few minutes, sir, will I get at least 50K per month? I mean, like this, they come for 50K per month, sir. Do you have a right to even talk about salary at that point in time in an interview? No, you don't. That shows a very poor negative attitude. No, you can't talk about it. And obviously, the interviewer is going to get upset, right? So please don't get into this kind of situation. And your fears. Oh, I'm from a village background. I come from a very small town called Chagallu. I am from Srikakulam. How can I join Google? How can I join Amazon? You are limiting yourself, my friend. You are creating your own complexes, your own inferiority complex. You are the architect. You only saying, I'm from a small town. What is wrong if you are from a small town or a big town? Today's jobs, people are preferring people from the tier 2, tier 3 cities, not from metros, because they come with very poor attitudes. Okay. So how do you conquer fear? Accept. I created my fear. Yes. Yeah. And yes, I recognize that. Yeah, I have this problem. So what? I have this problem. So what? Just keep it aside. Yeah. Okay. What is the worst thing? I won't get my job. No. Okay, yeah. What can happen? Nothing can happen. So accept that you have a fear. 50% of the battle is won. Recognize it. Very important. Yes, I have this fear. So what do? You work on it. Very simple. You work on the fear and give it a chair next to you. Or say, hey, you stay at home. I'm going for my interview. Keep it aside. So recognize it, accept it, recognize it, and say, okay, hey, you don't, I'm going for my interview. You sit away from me. Believe me, this actually works. It might sound as a crazy suggestion to you people, but recognizing that fear and saying, okay, you are there. If you try to get it out of your head, it will occupy your head. So, okay, you're there. It's okay. Don't trouble me. Let me do my job. And that is the very first step of conquering your fear. Yes. So we have come to the end of this, but I have a few interesting questions here. Can we have something when the interviewer offers us during the interview? I have been offered cashew. Yeah. So you see, there are these interviewers who will offer you something to eat. They'll offer you something to drink. And just give me 1 minute. I want to demonstrate something if you can see it. Yes. So there is this cup of tea. You're dying for a cup of tea. You're dying for a cup of coffee. And the interviewer says, hey, why don't you have some coffee? Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And then, you have this cup in front of you and you're tense. Don't forget, you have a fear, you're scared. And this cup of tea is going to probably, more importantly, thank you very much, sir. The moment you start drinking that tea or coffee, the interviewer is going to ask you a question. So you are halfway through this, and then the question comes. So do you continue to drink or do you answer the question? Very tough, very tough. Now this is done. Normally for freshers, it's not done, but we do it to test how well the candidate handles stress. It's part of a stress interview. And my suggestion is very simple and straightforward. Do not, even if you're dying to eat those cashew nuts, even if you're dying to have a cup of tea or coffee, do not eat it at that point in time. If you want to, I'm not saying no, but please learn how to handle it. So you are having this cashew nut in your mouth, quickly finish it off and then answer the question. You're having a sip of coffee, finish it or put it down and answer the question. But do not splutter and spit and regurgitate it out of fear. If you still have even that small element of fear in you, please say thank you, sir. I do not like to have this coffee right now. Thank you very much. You want to have it? Learn how to handle it. As simple as that. Yeah. What are the other questions? Yes. So I think now we are at the end. So I would like to take a few questions from you. I have already answered a few. Are there any specific questions? You can unmute yourself and ask me, and I will be happy to answer it. If the interview asks us whether we have any questions. Yes, it's a good question from Akanksha. So the interview says, do you have any questions to ask us? Always go prepared with your list of questions about the company, what the job is, what kind of a job title you're going to get. Nothing wrong. You are most welcome to ask because that shows your passion, that shows your interest in the company that you're joining. So, of course, you can ask an interviewer a question at the end. Yes, sir. What would be the joining time? Fine. If there is no discussion on salary, you can say, sir, regarding the offers, would your HR be getting back to me? You can ask, nothing wrong. There's no problem at all. How to handle employment gaps? Yeah. Okay, so I am going to stop sharing my screen now, and I will go into your question and answer box and answer the questions over there. Yeah, so there is a question, how to handle an employment gap. Yes, it's a good question. So very important is not to show a gap. And if you have a gap, you can always say that you had a family issue, that you are, a consultant, or you had a break because you were laid off. I mean, if you were laid off, you were laid off. I mean, there's nothing you can do, nothing you can say about it. Yes, I was laid off, sir. I'm looking for an opportunity now because layoffs are happening. You can always say, that you had a family problem. But very important is the fact that, you must tell people that, you handle that gap well, that you actually did some courses, that you upskilled yourself. And I think that is what is important. Yeah. What interviews can expect, Rohit Jyoti Reddy, what interviews can expect from us? Honesty and straightforwardness. No alternate to that. Very, very important. Motherhood break, yes. You can only say I had a baby, 5 years. My child is more important to me than my job and to my family. I brought up my child. Now my child is fine, and I'm back to work. And I've upskilled myself. I have not lost touch with my profession. Of course, talk about it. Yes, Manasa. No noises while drinking a cup of coffee. Yes. So, can we include our strengths and weaknesses in introduction? No. The interviewer will ask you. You can talk about it. Your strengths must come out in what you have done in your projects, internships, and other social responsibilities. If you're really good in your strength, you can talk about it, but be ready to demonstrate it. But there's no need to talk of your strengths and weakness in the introduction. Yes, would Srinivas like to answer this? Mr. Srinivas.
Yeah, sure. I had already answered it to, I think,
Prachi.
Prachi. I
Okay.
don't know if she got it, but I mean, there's nothing wrong in talking about one strength or two strengths. As a matter of fact, that is something that Anantram has already advised, and you should follow that. But you should never, ever talk about your weakness. You never volunteer your weakness, and therefore, because self-introduction is voluntary, you're only going to include everything that says this is a great thing to do. You're never going to say, oh, I'm really good at things, but I'm very shy. My weakness is that I don't like people. My weakness is that I'm lazy. Why would you volunteer things like that? So never in your resume nor in your interview you volunteer that unless an interviewer specifically asks, is this something that is do you have any weaknesses? We will cover that in another webinar at a later point of time.
Yes.
But back to Anantram.
Thank you. So we have another question. Demo intro, I think I've already done that. Strengths in the sense technical or mental or both. I think you should just talk of your technical, your competence in your work. Sumant asked this question. All your technical strengths must come out definitely. Mental strength is if you have gone through very tough times and you have survived them, you can talk about it. That you had a very difficult time and probably, but really not required. But technical strengths, yes. Mental strength, they will assess themselves. Unless you've done something really phenomenal, it's good. You can talk about it. How should we introduce if we are a fresher? I have already told you what to cover. Qualifications, your projects, your internships, your career goals, what you want to be in life. Yeah, you should talk about that.
Mrs. Sudha Mauri is asking you a relevant question in the Q&A.
Yes, I'm going in order there. I just finished Kavya's question. Yeah, Sudha Mauri. Sir, many times students fail to describe their strengths or learnings from their internships or projects in a presentable manner. Let's say during a pandemic, they're doing projects from home, okay? And they feel they've not learned anything being on the job experience. Any inputs for such students? Projects from home, but yes, if they've done some good research work, let them showcase what they have done. Let them, write a paper. Let them talk about a blog that they have, created. Let them talk of, why they took up a particular projects, and probably, prepare a nice video. I think what these students could probably do is, talk about, some good internship or project that they've done, and make a nice video of it and put it across on YouTube. They can do that. They can make a nice PowerPoint presentation and talk about it. They can write an article. They can write a blog. They can do so many things. Yes, that's a good question. Yes, we can do that. Because as you rightly said, there has been a lot of good work that they have done from home. But let them just showcase it to their faculty members in the form of a PowerPoint presentation, in the form of an article, in the form of a blog, or in the form of a nice, well-made YouTube video. I'm sure you can. They can do that. Does that answer your question, Dr. Sudha? Anonymous attendee wants to ask a question. One of the recruiters specifically asked, "Tell me your weakness, how to answer them." Yeah. So these, when you are asked about a weakness, yeah, I think there are some more questions on weakness. Can we put our weakness in a way to show it in a positive? Exactly. Yes, Nishta, that is the right way to do it. Like, procrastination. You keep delaying something. Yes, you can always say, yes, I think I have been always submitting my projects and assignments at the last minute. I've never missed the deadlines, but yes, I do procrastinate, but I'm working on it. And I'm sure that, it will never happen again. I guess it's just because of a last minute thing and too many diversions in my life. But yeah, you can just talk about it and say, yeah, it's a weakness, but yes, I'm getting over it. Very important is to talk of a weakness which you are ready to get out of, and that you're working on it and you're getting out of it. That's important. And maybe a project deadline that was missed. You can say sometimes, like I was asked on a couple of interviews, what is my weakness? And I said, I'm very frank. I call a spade a spade. Now, most people are very diplomatic. And in fact, in one of my performance reviews, I was told, I think you got to be more diplomatic. I said, yes, sir, I do agree with you, because I tend to be very frank and I call a spade a spade. I thrash out a matter right across the table, whoever it is, whether it's my subordinates or my bosses. And I think many of the people who worked with me can vouch for that, because there's no point in carrying it. These things work like a slow poison. So being frank is a weakness. Brutally frank is also a weakness, which I am. But yes, one has to learn diplomacy. You can say, yes, I'm learning to be more diplomatic, but I just like to get my work done, and I don't like to carry anything back home at the end of the day. Any other questions? Are there any other questions that somebody has? Can you tell me about something? Sir, can we tell about something which is not related to our studies, but that relates to our talents? Of course. Very important. You have to show that you are anonymous. I'm sorry, I don't know who asked this question, but the question is a good one. Can you talk about something which is not related to our studies, but related to our talent? Of course. Suppose you're a very good painter, you're a very good singer. Of course, talk about it. Say that you have performed on YouTube, you have YouTube videos, you have sung for a movie, that you have danced at some India festival. Nothing wrong. Please talk about your talent. Nothing wrong. But make sure it is something, not that you dance at your school annual day or a freshers day. No. But something of, you represented your district in cricket, you represented the state in volleyball. Of course, you can talk about it. How about expressing weakness like, I can't bear unprofessional people, or I get angry if the work is not accomplished on time? Yes, that's okay. Unprofessional people, yeah, you can always say, I tend to get upset when people are not professional in their approach. But I mean, it does irritate me. Yeah, you can say that. You can also say that when in a team, 5 team members are there, but you find there are only 2 donkeys. Only 2 people are working. So that is the problem. Yeah, but yes, you can definitely talk about that. Now we all face online or virtual interviews? Any tips for that? Yes, very important. In a virtual interview, have a nice, decent background. Even if you don't have virtual background, you don't have Zoom, doesn't matter. Just have a nice curtain behind you. Dress professionally. I see many people coming for interviews without even wearing t-shirts and t-shirts without a collar. I mean, come on. Virtual interview or whatever interview, there are important thing is you're looking good, looking professional, having a good internet connection, good sound, and good light on your face. That is very important. If you can show a few gestures, especially your eye contact, a nice smile on your face, very important. But make sure you dress well. That is important in any interview, more so in a virtual interview, because when I do virtual interviews, when I do so many online, I find people with a very casual approach. They come in, t-shirts and all that. I mean, it's, even though it is a practice interview that we do conduct an interview buddy, that is a problem. Yeah, so if there are there any more questions? I think if anyone wants to unmute and ask also, it is fine. Any other questions, please? So I thank you very much. And I was happy to see a good participation in today's webinar. Please do visit Interview Buddy. It's a wonderful platform to be on. We do plenty of practice interviews, mock interviews. We have a great panel of interviewers with a lot of experience behind them, technical, HR, behavioral. We cover several fields in our technical expertise. So you could use our services, and we give you a structured feedback at the end of your interviews. You get a good structured feedback. You can note these details down. You can call up those phone numbers. You can send emails, and we'll be more than happy to answer you, because we are one of a kind, and we serve individuals, we serve institutions, and we have a fantastic team, technical, in the front, who handle the operations, and our wonderful interviewers who give you a real experience. So thank you very much for being there. Any questions that some of you would like? Anyone can unmute and ask, or yeah, please fill in the poll. Yes. Thank you, Nishta. I hope.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, this is Dr. Kalyan Chakravarti. I hope you remember.
How are you,
fine,
Dr.
sir,
Kalyan?
fine, sir. Sir, fine, sir. Namaste. Wonderful,
Namaste.
very nice session after a long time, sir.
Thank you,
And
Kalyan.
I'm
You are doing a
enjoying.
wonderful job too. Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. And these are very useful tips, sir. As you know, I'm traveling all over India now,
I
conducting
know.
lot of trainings.
Oh, okay.
So
Nice.
these are very useful things, but I request further some domain-specific talks also, sir, like lateral thinking,
Okay.
leadership, very special to you
Okay.
because your observations have been always
Okay.
very useful and very experiential also.
Okay.
Then
So
multi-billion
can you just send us an email, and we would be happy to take up a few such focused topics also.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Yeah, definitely, Dr. Kalyan. That will be thanks. Yeah, that will be very nice. I mean, this is a webinar series that we are going to continue. So yes, we will like to get into a
Sir,
few
sir.
specific areas also.
And sir,
To
this
definitely.
national, yes, sir, thank you. This national education policy, recently we have done 2 webinars, national
Oh,
webinars.
okay.
So such things will help because multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary research areas, courses, lot of stuff is being talked about. But
Okay.
practically, I wonder how we are going to implement. Even I have some points to cover, but I
Okay.
would like to listen from experienced people like you also, sir, on these topics.
Okay. Definitely, Dr. Kalyan, for sure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for all the wonderful wishes, and I'm glad many of you like this. Anamika, Rohita, Varaprasad, Shailendra, Dr. Jayashree, Neshta, Akanksha has been very participative. Thank you, Akanksha. You've been participating for a long. So has Venkat Siva. Thank you. Manasa, thank you so much.
Ujjwal, do you want to do the vote of thanks?
Sure. So, thank you, sir, for such an insightful session, and I'm sure all our attendees benefited out of it. So, for the attendees, if you're looking to take up any practice interviews, or if you're looking for any practice with regards to your upcoming interviews, be it a internship interview or a job interview, or any sort of interview, you can always reach out to us at Interview Buddy. Just visit interviewbuddy.in, and we are always here to help you out. And if you're looking to take up any one-on-one practice interviews with Mr. Anantram as well, you can always sign up onto our platform, and we'll get you connected with Mr. Anantram. And if you're looking for any domain-specific interviews, you can request for the same. We take up or we offer interviews on wide range of domains. Of course, IT, core engineering, banking, finance, insurance, management, sales and marketing. So we cover the entire spectrum of domains, and we have been helping candidates ace their job interviews. So make sure to check out our website and reach out to us, and we are always here to help you. So once again, thank you, Anantram sir, and thank you all the attendees for joining this session.
Yeah, can I just have one word, Mr. Ujjwal?
Sure.
We also do interviews for student visa, F1.
Yeah, right.
And we've in fact done, scholarship interviews for the Fulbright scholarship. So I think those are rather unique interview services that we offer, Mr. Ujjwal, and I'm sure some of the participants, I think some of our visa interviews went well, and people have got their visas.
Yeah. Right, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Good. Thank you very much. Thank you for the wonderful support from the Interview Buddy team. Thank you for this wonderful experience.
Our pleasure, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you
Ujjwal.
all.
Thank you, Mr. Srinivas. Thank you, Mr. Deepak. Team Interview Buddy. Good job. Thank you.